Has your child ever asked you, "Mom, what does this word mean?" when they're reading a story or a book? Or maybe they have, you've been reading together and you come across words that you don't know. One of the really important skills for students to learn is how to be a word detective, how to understand the meanings of the words through context clues. And today, what I want to do is I want to give you strategies that you can use with your child to help them figure out the meaning of the word in a story themselves. And this is going to help to increase their vocabulary. It will make them more successful in their English exams because they'll be able to guess the correct meaning of a word based on how it's used in the sentence or how it's used in the story. I'm Meaghan. I'm an English teacher, and I focus on helping students who are intermediate English learners improve their reading comprehension, vocabulary, writing, and speaking skills. And so today, as we get into this, we're going to define context clues and talk about what they are. I'm going to provide you with some different examples of the types of context clues, and we're going to practice how to identify context clues in a text. So context clues are pieces of information that help us figure out the meaning of new words, of words that we don't know. And it's sort of like being a detective. We're gathering clues from the sentences around the unknown word, and we're making a guess about what the definition of the word is. What does this word mean? Instead of telling your child what the word means, next time you can encourage them to use a context clue. There are 3 different types of context clues. We have definition context clues, we have synonym context clues, and we have antonym context clues. We're going to look at each of these context clues and an example. With a definition context clue, the meaning of the word is actually right in the story or in the text. So if we look at this example, this sentence actually contains the definition of the words climate change. Here you can see that this is the definition. So climate change, which refers to the long-term shifts in temperature and weather patterns. You'll see which refers to is a really good clue to say, oh, here is the definition of the word before it. So helping your child understand they should look for clues like which refers to will help them identify definition context clues in their reading. A synonym context clue. This is when there's another word in the text that has a similar meaning to the word that we don't know. So the effects of climate change could lead to extinction or complete eradication of a certain species on this planet. Here, the synonym for the term extinction is in the sentence, and we can help to see this with the word or. So extinction and eradication have a similar meaning. If you're like, I still don't know what eradication means, it's of a certain species from this planet, we can look at the other sentences around it to help us understand that extinction or eradication means that animal is no longer here on the planet. It has disappeared because of the effects of climate change. So synonym context clues are when we have words that mean the same as the word that we don't know. An antonym context clue is when there's another word in the text that means the opposite of the unfamiliar word. So in our example, we are looking for an antonym context clue for the word drought. Whereas some regions are experiencing prolonged droughts, there are other areas across the globe that are enduring devastating floods. Can you see the antonym context clue in this sentence? The antonym context clue is floods. So the term drought would be the opposite of a flood. If your child means that a flood is when all of the land gets covered with water, a drought is when there is no water. The ground is very, very dry. So now let's put these 3 types of context clues into practice. We're going to look at some samples, and I want you to think about the meaning of the unfamiliar words and try to identify them using the context clues. This is a great time to get your child, if you haven't already, and have them try out their skills with their reading, and you can work together on this. If you are interested in more reading and writing tips that will help you support your child, don't forget to click the link in the comments to subscribe. And you can also pick up a free creative writing guide by clicking the link in the description below. So, as the hurricane approached, the ocean surface was filled with turbulence, an unsteady, violent movement, making it dangerous for ships to navigate. In this case, we're wondering, what is the meaning of the word turbulence, and what type of context clue is used here? If you guessed a definition context clue, you're right. Right after the word turbulence, we have these lines or hyphens, and between them we see it's an unsteady, violent movement. Now, if you didn't pick up on that, you also might see the fact that it was dangerous for ships to navigate, and you might guess that the ocean surface has lots and lots and lots of waves. Let's take a look at this example. After 10 hours of heavy rainfall, the wind and rain of the storm did not abate. Rather, it began to intensify. Abate is probably a new word for your child. What does it mean? What type of context clue is used here? Let's take a look. That's right. If you said abate is an antonym clue, the word, which is the opposite, is intensify. So abate means to slow down or decrease. So after 10 hours of heavy rain, it was still raining really heavily. And in fact, it actually got stronger. So this is an example of an antonym clue. A good tip here is the word rather. Rather often indicates a word that's the opposite. Let's take a look at our third example, and let's see if you can find the context clue. Experts describe the hurricane as destabilizing or disruptive, as it caused widespread destruction in coastal areas. Here, the new word is destabilizing. What is the meaning of destabilizing, and what type of context clue is used here? If you said it's a synonym context clue, you're right. The word that has a similar meaning to destabilizing is disruptive. And this clue word, or, is a good indicator that you have a synonym context clue to help you figure out the meaning of the unfamiliar word. So in this case, the hurricane caused lots of problems. It was disruptive, it was destabilizing, and it destroyed coastal areas. So context clues are tools for understanding and deciphering unknown words while you're reading. It's much faster to use context clues than it is to use a dictionary to look up words. So if your child can learn how to use definition, synonym, and antonym context clues, they will be a stronger reader and they will be more successful on their English exams. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more tips. And if you want that free creative writing guide to help your child improve their writing, click on the link in the description below. Thanks everyone. Stay tuned for more videos from Smart Sprouts Learning.